Hey everyone, this is Olay from Laddering Your Success, and you're listening to the LYS Podcast. All right, folks, good afternoon, good people, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls all over the world. Thank you for coming in again to another LYS Free Student Mentoring session. As always, with my good friend Festus and Olay, I am Olay Sharanki, here joined also by Daniel Hill. Gentlemen, how are you all doing today? How y'all doing today?
Doing well.
Same.
Yeah, glad to be back. Glad to be ready to change lives and impact lives. You know, happy 2023 for those who maybe this is your first time hearing us.
No, definitely. Happy 2023. This is our second show of the year, right? Yeah, that's right, because last week was our first show. Because January 1st was a Sunday, so we're jumping in with our second show of the year, continuing on a pretty important topic. We're just kind of like putting everything together for the year, talking about state of education in 2023. We had a really wonderful time. We had a chance to go to the parent-teacher event that our good friend Ernest Beeson did yesterday in Houston with BJ O'Neill. Really fun event. Got a chance to talk with some administrators, teachers, parents, and just discuss some really pertinent things, some things that are going on right now that are really important to make sure that, you know, like we always talk about here at LYS, that educator, administrator, parent connection is always there to help benefit the students. So really good conversations, really good time that we had there. So let's go ahead and jump into it, folks. Thank you for coming into another LYS mentoring session powered by Laddering Your Success, LYS. If you would like to follow us on Instagram, just go to LYS Students. You can also go to BeKnowDo_LYS. That's for teachers and parents. On Facebook, just do a quick search there on the search bar, type in Laddering Your Success. On YouTube, same thing, just in the search bar, type in Laddering Your Success. On TikTok, LYS BeKnowDo. That's our handle on TikTok. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, if you would like for us to come to your church, to your school, if you'd like for us to come to your youth group, if you have inquiries about workshops and things like that, just go to info@ladderingyoursuccess.com. That's also really good if you want to do a one-on-one session. Okay. On Discord, once again, just type in Laddering Your Success. And if you love what we're doing, if you've seen us around, if we've popped up and we've said something that you really want to help us, and you really like our mission, our vision, our values, right there on Cash App, $ Laddering Your Success. All right. And of course, don't forget about the LYS Lesson Plan and Assignments app. What is it? Well, this is for school districts. It's for teachers. It's if you are homeschooling right now, there is a growing number of families that are moving into homeschooling. If you are looking for a purpose-driven lesson planning app that allows you to take what the kid is learning, take what your student is learning, and helps them apply real world life lessons, real life lessons, engaging life lessons that helps them think critically and start applying what they're learning into what they really love, what their purpose is, what their passions are. You have to take a look at the LYS Lesson Planning app. You can try it for free. It saves 10 to 30% of time on lesson planning. There's character building built into every lesson. And there's complete standard alignment with our lesson plans created by expert teachers. So if you go to the website, you'll be able to get more information and you can try it out for free. Don't forget the book, Laddering Your Success, is available now on Amazon. And it's also available on, where else is it available, Festus? You posted something last week.
It's available on Barnes & Noble. It's available on Lulu.com. Especially if you go to Lulu they help us out the most. You know what I'm saying?
There you go.
Them publishing ends. You know what I'm saying?
There you go. So I need to change that on like Lulu.
Yeah, we talk about it. You could put, each one that is where they can find it.
Where they can find it. All right. Good. Now, in addition to the book, we have the Stepping Up College and Career Checklist, which you can buy now on ladderinyoursuccess.com. Also, if you go to ladderinyoursuccess.com, a really, really good resource for parents, a parent's guide to student success, that is available on ladderinyoursuccess.com. Now, we also have a free download, a free ebook download, and that is the 10 things to think about before going to college ebook, selecting your education experience. So please, no more than 2 minutes, right? Just going to ladderinyoursuccess.com. I believe going to, I can't remember what section it is. Remember the section you need to go to, Festus, to get to the books? Is it students or? I can't remember.
To get to the free download, yeah. If you go on the students page, free download there. If you also go on the blog, if you're reading the blog, it'll link you over to where you can get that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Wonderful. All right, folks. Never forget, ladder your success. Climb. Let's start that climb. All right. All right. Let's get into it. State of education in 2023. Last week, we kind of did an overall, discussion on where we are when it comes to parents, educators, and students. And so this week, we're going to primarily focus on the students, right? And so the first question is, what are the biggest student issues in 2023? We're talking about all students here in 2023. What are the biggest issues? And so before we start, Festus, I wanted to ask you if you remembered what we talked about last year. I think it was either last year or the year before that at the HBU student. There was a student thing that we did there. So we talked to the students and we were like, what's the biggest issue that you're dealing with right now in high school? And I remember a lot of the students saying people being fake, people not necessarily being themselves, peer pressure and things like that. And so that all kind of led me to, what I think the biggest issue is, but I'll just leave that open for you all. What have y'all seen and what, based off of what we talked about and what we know to be the biggest issues that our students are dealing with in 2023?
So the biggest issue I believe students are facing, and I think this is going to bear out, is identity, right? Is the ability to say who you are and mean it and link it back to tangibles, right? Because right now, so much is being linked to intangibles, right? And so, for example, like social media, a person can literally create a whole persona on social media that is not linked to anything in their reality. Right. And some people are okay with this. Right. But the issue is, as soon as you have to deal with reality, those things crumble and they are very consequential. And a lot of people don't understand why that is such a big deal. Right. Like some students, some kids can and want to live in their version of the metaverse. Right. And a lot of people don't really understand how these different social pushes and the social engineering kind of move us in that direction and put us there. So if you looked at in the past at sayings that they said when we were growing up in the 90s, anybody remember this? You could be whoever you wanted to be. You could be whatever you wanted to be, right?
Hey, be all that you can be
in the army. Yeah, exactly. And I don't even want to get into how the military pays for stuff, because whenever they don't have enough soldiers, that's when they kick up the marketing and they spend tons of money marketing to kids. So then if you go from be what you want to be in the early 2000s, mid 2000s, what was it? Discover your truth, right? Okay, so if you notice that, you can actually disconnect from reality, because in reality, you cannot be whatever you want to be, right? And some people say, yes, you can. Yes, you can. Why are you discouraging? You're a discourager. It's not about discouraging. It's about reality. I am 5'9". I'm not going to discuss my weight on here, okay? Right? So listen, I am at my height and body weight, I am better equipped to play football than I am to play basketball. Okay? So does that mean that I can't ever play basketball? No. But does it mean I'm going to be an NBA player because that's what I really want to be? Probably. I'm not dealing with reality, right? The curve, the curve, the learning curve and the effort curve for me being an NBA player versus me being an NFL player is so wide, right? I'm probably not dealing with reality. You see what I'm saying? And because of that, you have people who are attempting to be and do things, right, that they're not well qualified to be and do. And they're disconnected with reality. And I say all that to talk about students and how the same thing goes into education, right? Not everybody should go to college. And I'm just going to say it. And for some reason, if you go look in the 90s and the early 2000s, and even today, the big pushes for college. And I get the social dilemma behind that. The social dilemma behind that was number one, you had where Blacks, Browns were barred from entering institutions of higher learning. Then you had separate but equal institutions of higher learning, which were unequal. And then if you continue on historically, right, you see where even when Blacks and Browns did get into colleges, they then said, oh, you should not do this, you should do that. Instead of being an engineer, be a mechanic, and so on and so forth. And so they did all of these things that caused real economic harm to people from an education standpoint. And I get that. I understand the history. So I really don't need that history lesson, right? But and so I say all this to say we should be encouraging those who have not only the ability to graduate first and foremost. That's the most important thing, because not everybody who goes to college is going to graduate. We need those students who can actually graduate to go, number one, right? And don't give me this lip about everybody's going to graduate. No, there's some people who have behavior issues that your behavior issue is going to preclude you from graduating. Okay, and I know I'm soapboxing a little bit, right? But the reality is people who go to live the American pie life on college campuses are not going to graduate, most likely. If you sit up all night and play video games and you don't have the academic and social discipline to be like, nah, I got to hit these books. Nah, I got to do this. You're probably not going to graduate, okay? And now you're stacking them with a whole lot of debt. You see what I'm saying? And so unless we're going to seriously bend the social and economic realities, which these people, even if you graduate from college, you're not going to get a job and you're not going to hold it for long. Because if you show up the way you've shown up your whole life, I'm gonna play video games, I'm gonna just show up and it's gonna happen. I'm sorry, you're just not gonna make it. And so because of that, I think identity is the number one issues that students are facing. So I'll cap there. Thank you.
Hey, LYS fam, it's Olay. Just wanted to take a quick break to let you know that even though the cost of college can be daunting, the LYS Scholarship Guide ebook can assist you in realizing your dreams. You can identify and apply for scholarships using the information, advice, and resources in our comprehensive guide. Also, we've provided a template for a successful scholarship essay to help you stand out from the crowd. Don't allow student loan debt to control you. Get your copy of the LYS Scholarship Guide ebook right away to take charge of your destiny. Simply go to lys.com/parents to get your copy today. Now let's get back to that fire conversation. Awesome. D Hill, you got any input on that? Problems that our students are dealing with here in 2020?
Well, shoot, man. You know, your boy over there just dropped the whole mic on the whole situation, man. That was Festus shut it down, bro. No, that was real, man. I like what he said. Like, And like knowing, I like what he say, like not everybody need to go to college. Like, man, we were just talking about that just a few minutes ago at church, how some of these jobs not even looking for people to go to college. They looking for you just to get the certifications. You just keep adding more and more certifications, and now you can do this job, and you making the same amount as somebody who went to college. But I like he said, knowing who you are, it's like knowing your identity. He said something, but it's like these kids think, okay, here go example. I had kids thinking they going to the pros in football and not even playing football. I'm like, hold on, bro. Or go and play basketball. Like, they swept them down that they're going to be pro basketball players. I was like, do you play for a team now? No. Do you play in the streets? Well, not really. Bro, that's just a false reality, bro. And what he said about attitude, I told a girl that this week. I said, look, baby girl, you the nicest, meanest person I know. But your attitude ain't going to keep, like, she might get far because of how she's still friendly. But I told her, I was like, baby girl, you get your attitude right. Because if you don't, you will mess up a lot in life and stuff like that. But yeah, man, he's right. The main thing is a person's identity these days.
Man, absolutely. You know, you said something when you started talking. I was like, wait, I don't think it's very easy for me to forget how fire some of the things we say, because it's almost like I'm just used to it, which is a good thing, right? I mean, you know, you're used to just having people around who are just like really thought-provoking and say really amazing things. But yeah, definitely. I mean, you know, it's kind of like Festus said, it's kind of like Daniel said, Festus hit the nail on the head with a lot of those issues. But I mean, Daniel, you also bring up a very important point about us being able to relay the right message to our students. You know, when you were talking, Festus, you brought up something about how a lot of students were told to go to college in the 90s, right? It's like, you can go to college, you can do it, you know, go. And I think the difference between these large groups of students that were going to college and those that had been going to college is that those students who had been going to college had a certain amount of generational wealth. When I say generational wealth, let's get out of the habit of thinking about like tangible. I mean generational wealth as far as an understanding of certain things.
Talk that talk, bro.
Right? So
talk that talk.
They knew that, all right, if I go to college, I'm going to have this much I'm going to have this much of my college taken care of. So I'm probably going to have to go to this school. I won't be able to go to the school like I wanted to, you know, or if your parents were able to afford that for you, yeah, you could go to that school. You know, if you know anything about the 90s, it was one of the highest rates of, well, you know, I can't say that. I won't say that because I don't have the stats in front of me. But from a lot of the things that I've watched and a lot of the culture that I experienced in my young age in the 90s, it was a time where there were a lot more Black minority students going into college. And a lot of that had to do with a lot of the images that they saw. If you remember, a lot of the movies and TV shows that we had in the 90s were...
It's a different world.
Even if you watch episodes of Martin, you know, if you really pay close attention, you'll see that a lot of the characters there wore a lot of college information. College information. There were a lot of college sweatshirts on those shirts. And I think it's very easy for us to forget how our subconscious works and how those little seeds are planted and how those seeds, or when those seeds germinate, you know, how they'll change the course of your life. For me, you know, I'll just give some quick input on that. For me, it was the movie House Party to the Pajama Jam. House Party to the Pajama Jam, or whatever that was. I think it was part 2. I should not have been watching it. It was way, you know, I was way too young to be watching it, but, you know, I had a dad who did what he had to do to make sure, you know what I'm saying, when the videos came, you know, we were able to keep the videos. That's all I'm gonna say about that, you know what I mean? So, so they did like a church service for him, they prayed for him. And remember, they had a budding rap career. And so Play ended up getting hoodwinked and gave that money to like a fake producer promoter, and the money was like, a lot of the money was gone. And so he met a really powerful professor at the school, and it was just all about the pajama party. The pajama party was their way to get the money to pay for the rest of the tuition for that year. And it was so cool. I remember him walking into the, gosh, I'm so sorry. I'm just going on a tangent here. But there's a reason. It's a really good. So he walked in, and his roommate's name was Jamal. And it was this white guy, and he had dreads. And so I'll never forget it. Like, he walked in the room, and it was like, you could see like all this stuff. And he was like, all right, I got a cool roommate. He turns over, and he's a white guy with dreads, and kids like, and Jamal goes, hey, why you bugging, yo? Cause I'm white. Hey, you want some bean pie? And so like, it was like one of the craziest things.
Today they'd be like cultural appropriation.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
So, but I say all that to say there was a certain level of understanding that students had, that many students had. But I think for a lot of minority students going into school, they didn't know about student loans or student loan debt, or they didn't really understand the importance of making sure that, let's be honest. Hey, LYS fam, it's Olay once again. These days, many families are busy, but want personalized attention. We at Laddering Your Success understand this dilemma and have created a unique approach to help guide you and your child with personal development tools to build a life of purpose. This intimate approach is helpful for those parents that feel the need to have a focused heart-to-heart conversation deciding on the next steps after high school. We provide individual post-secondary planning, virtual customized college and career counseling, and scholarship guidance and planning. Our one-on-one sessions are tailored to each individual student to maximize their potential in the post-secondary realm. With our guidance, your child will be able to make their dreams a reality. Don't wait. Simply go to lys.com/parents to get your copy today. Now let's get back to business on this podcast. Let's be honest here. If you're going to go to school for something, you want to make sure it's worth your while, and you want to make sure that it's going to be, the cost benefit is a positive for you when you get out there. It really breaks my heart to say that, because you look at education and the power that comes with being a teacher. And if I had an 8th grade student who's like, I'm really passionate about teaching, my first question would be, what else are you passionate about?
Bro, you're bringing up such a powerful point of the academic term or whatever will be social capital. That's a big reason to go to college, is social capital. You know what I'm saying? And I think you're hitting the nail on the head. Is that's a crisis that students are facing now, especially Black and brown students, because they think simply by going you gain social capital, and that's not true. That's not true. And it goes right back to what you say about the intangibles of wealth. We think wealth is just like, yo, I got money, or equity is simply I have money or I have a stake. That is not true. And stop letting these people lie to you. Okay. Stop with the dumb stuff. Okay. It's dumb. It's dumb. And why do I say that? I know people, you're taking such a hard stance. It's because of this. If you look at these companies and the way these people move, they will give you the equity on something that's failing. And I know this is not a sports show, or we're not talking sports, but look at what the Houston Texans did. Okay. The Texans got rid of all of their phenomenal players who were Hall of Fame players, Hall of Fame caliber players. They just, boom, Deshaun Watson out of there, which you cannot tell me that this dude is running around the way he's moving and nobody knows about it. And as a matter of fact, when the info was discovered, the Texans didn't know about it. That was swept under the rug more than it was like, brought out. But so I'm not even going to go into that, okay? But then J.J. Watt, one of the best players in the history of football. How did you not let him retire here? And I get it. You need cap space and you need this and all that other stuff. But who did you get? You literally got nothing. What draft picks did you get? What trades did you get? You got zero. And then what did you do? You go hire the last possible Lovie Smith was already on the team. You go hire the last possible candidate for coaching and be like, let's get him 20 million and let's see how he does. Like, come on, bro. Okay, that's his equity. And yeah, he got 20 million, but you gave him a failing team. And then the next year, Lovie Smith comes in to a failing team. And so you can't just sit up here and be like, oh, you know, and I know we're not a sports show, but it's the same thing when people are, quote unquote, given equity instead of being able to build it. You see what I'm saying? And somebody stand by you as you build that thing. And so the same thing applies when it comes to college education. And like I said, you're given a great point of like, okay, kids, this is something you want to listen to. Parents, this is something you want to listen to. What is the social capital you're building by going to a four-year institution? If you're not building social capital by going, I would kind of recommend you don't go until you figure out what kind of social capital you're building. So good point, Olay.
Absolutely. Yeah, you know, I really try to put myself in the mind of a kid these days, like high school sophomore. We've talked about this before as well. I think one of the hardest things for a kid in high school right now is to be themselves authentically. Like, can you just live? Can you be comfortable in your own skin? And it's so hard. How do you tell a student who's in the 10th grade, and I'm just picking randomly here, right? 10th grade, that this cell phone, which gives you access to your future, which if used properly can have you do exploits that, you know, the world may have never seen, right? Limitless possibilities. But everything around you says it's used for this and that and this, you know, for these things that are so detrimental to who you are, but in so many different areas, socially, emotionally, mentally, it's draining. And if you ever get confused as to how hard it must be, just think about how hard it is to use social media as an adult. We are, look at my fingers here, adults. We are mature adults, yet we still struggle. I, as a 36-year-old man, still struggle, right? I have an app that tells me, basically it says 30 minutes for any app in a 24-hour period. And then it'll put up this thing that just says, hey, stop, like stop. And then the bad thing they did is they put a button up right under there that says, hey, leave me alone. And so guess what I do? I hit the button. I say, hey, leave me alone. I'm, you know, sometimes it's like for productivity, right? Because I'm on Gmail and stuff. And be like, and I actually get happy when it says I spent over 30 minutes on something else that's like not TikTok or Instagram, because it means I'm actually being productive. But, you know, is a sophomore in high school going to think about those things? Or are they really thinking about, hey, I really need to watch and this is just my 10th grade accent. That's all it is. My generic 10th grade accent. I really need to watch my usage on these other apps, man, because I've got geometry homework and I really like, no, they don't care. They want to do what they want to do, what their friends do and all these other things. So there's definitely a lot of these things that they're dealing with here. Festus, you look like you wanted to say something. I'm just going to pop something on the screen here so we can continue. Hey, LYS fam, it's Olay. Thanks so much for listening to LYS. I just wanted to take a quick moment to talk to the parents. That's right, mom and dad. Parents, prepare your child for their best educational fit after high school with our comprehensive LYS Parents Guidebook. Our helpful guide includes a range of activities designed to help you better understand your child's unique gifts and abilities. Additionally, we provide valuable insights into the student loan debt crisis and offer practical tips on how to avoid accumulating large amounts of debt. Our ebook also includes a wealth of information on scholarships, grants, and payment exemptions that can help guide your child towards a bright and successful future. With our expert guidance, you can rest assured that your child is well prepared to make informed decisions about their education and career path. Don't let your child's future be in jeopardy. Invest in their future today by downloading the LYS Parents Guidebook. Simply go to lys.com/parents to get your copy today. Now let's get back to the show, because you know it's some good topics. Real quick. I kind of added some stuff while you guys were talking. Did you want to say something, Festus? D Hill?
No, we're good. Let's continue.
So this is what I put down so far. Biggest students issues in 2023. And if you're listening, if you're watching, you know, just think about these things and say, don't forget about this. Don't forget about that. Don't forget, you know, this is going to be posted on Facebook. It's going to be on YouTube. So, you know, you're more than welcome to go in and comment on these things. So far we've got identity, guidance, social media, trauma, peer pressure. I think that trauma one's a big one. I look at my students sometimes in class and it's like, how do you let a fifth grader be a fifth grader when you can look in their eyes and you can see that they're just dealing with something and they don't know how to express what they're feeling? You know, they don't know how to verbalize. They don't know how to express how they're feeling. And they just don't even know how to sit with it. Right. And I keep saying it. You know, when I went to therapy, I had stuff I was trying to deal with, or at least stuff I was trying to understand that I was just like, you know, not even thinking about. And so I go back to these young students. How do they deal with those things? Right. And I think it is what it is. Social media, you know, makes that problem exponentially greater because it's like, hey, you're dealing with, you know, SA. You're dealing with some sort of trauma. You're dealing with this. You're dealing with that. Here's a picture of a girl, you know, or video of a girl, or, you know, here's, you know, this picture of perfection that you need to look up to. It's like, what? I can only imagine what's going on in their heads right now.
Bro, I think you hit a major nail on the head regarding trauma and social media fix-its, where a lot of people think or would say that they are working on their mental health, quote unquote, when the real issues of mental health are not being dealt with, but they're literally being held out in front, right? Like, just like you said, like a lot of these social media algorithms are the cause of the mental health problems. It's not even debated. Like, literally, this was the big whistleblower event that went before Congress. So these coders are literally writing algorithms that they know are doing harm to kids. And instead of our Congress saying, hey, listen, you need to write the algorithm to where it's going to promote healthy things for kids. So if a kid comes off as depressed, it's going to point them in the right ways of getting mental health or something like that. Or let's say somebody displays what would be considered depressive behavior online, right? So let's say they're looking up, you know, ways to, you know, off themselves or something like that, right? Or cutting, or just some things that are in line with poor mental health. The algorithm could, in fact, show them quality things about dealing with their mental health. Go for a walk, go for a run, exercise, find a peer group, find mentorship. It could bring up, like, literally the same way those ads that target you with the pixel bring up shoes that you looked at. It could bring up, like, these are the mental health or mentoring groups in your neighborhood or in your area. It could do the same thing, because it's not like those people are not making content like we're making content. It's not like they're not out there, right? But they're not brought up as much in front of those students. So what do the students do? They get more depressed. They look at the girls. The algorithm does that. And who's held to consequences for it? No one. And you know, regardless of whatever side you fall on, right now, they're literally, Elon Musk is showing that, like, the FBI supported all kinds of political sabotage online, regardless of whatever side you fall on. And it's like, when you were doing that, why weren't you dealing with these kids' mental health issues? Ding, ding, ding. Your government does not care about your well-being. That's the underlying thing that you should be like, okay, regardless, I'm not going to pick a side and be like, oh, you know what? I'm going to pick this side because I think they're more right. No, the underlying thing is your government does not care about your well-being. And why do I say that? Because that means you need to care more about your well-being than relying on others to try to take care of your well-being. And that's hard for students to do because they don't even know what well-being is at 5th grade and at 6th grade and at whatever grade. So if you're a community leader listening to this, you're a parent listening to this, please step in, intervene. Again, I'm not saying, hey, take the phone, because it's sad. A couple of weeks ago, they just posted about a mom taking her kid's phone or electronics. He killed her. And then after he killed her, the aunt called the prison where the kid is, and he told her, make sure my stuff is there when I get back. Like, not, hey, I can't believe I did that to my mom. No, make sure my laptop and my phone is there when I get back. This is the type of world we're living in right now. So, Olay, go ahead, man, because
oh no worries, man. I know. If you're a parent right now, I actually want you to just stop, pause, especially if you're listening to this or watching this with your kids. Critical thinking is a super important skill that all students should have. And so I think this is a really good critical thinking moment right here. You should just stop and have this quick conversation with your students and just ask them this question: who benefits from things like this happening, right? So if you really want to start to really understand I'm a big systems guy. I got to understand the systems. When I understand the systems of how a thing operates, I'm better to understand certain moves that they make, right? So who benefits from things like what Festus said? Who benefits from a world where a child can end the life of the person who gave him life and have no remorse, don't care, does not care about the action that they just committed, and says to their aunt, just make sure my things are present or there when I get. Who benefits from a world where young people who have, things that they're dealing with, real issues that they're dealing with, get shown images of, these of models or these dances or just things that don't benefit them? It's almost like it lessens their intelligence. It doesn't give them that ability to really think about other ways to do things, how to really solve their problems, how to be independent. Who benefits from those things? And even if you're not with your parents, if you're just listening to this, if you're just watching this, I want you to think about that. Who benefits from that? Okay. All right, let's continue here. All right. Because I don't want to be a Debbie Downer. We're not just here to talk about the problems, right? You can't talk about the issues or the problems without talking about solutions.
Yeah.
So what are some solutions? And this is another short list, right? This isn't the end all be all list. The wonderful thing about problem solving is usually there's more than one way to solve a problem. And someone told me this quote they told me, I don't know, I think I read it. And it said, hey, if you've got a problem, it's okay. There's a solution. And if there's no solution, then hey, guess what? There's no solution. I mean, what are you going to do? So I was just like, hey, yeah, that's true. Like, people sitting over here losing their mind, like, oh, what am I doing? Well, have you looked for a solution? No, look for a solution. Is there a solution? Yeah. All right, go do that. So here we have solutions for students in 2023. And I ain't gonna lie. Am I biased? Yes. I mean, but LYS is a wonderful resource out there, and we're only growing and getting stronger. Thank you for listening. Thank you for showing up. LYS is a wonderful resource. These free student mentorings, the resources that we have besides the book, the career and college checklist, for parents, the parenting guide, for students, our scholarship guide, us coming to your school, us one-on-one sessions, all of these things. Honest conversations, I think, is key, right? I think we'll get into that a little bit later. And I think another big one is parental, familial, community understanding and growth, right? Coming back to the communities, coming back to families, coming back to parents, and really making sure that we are doing what we can for the future. and I'm gonna let you guys go, but I just want to talk real quick about honest conversations, because I don't know what came over me, but I had 3 students come in my classroom on Tuesday or Wednesday. And last week was kind of rough because I was under the weather, and I was really under the weather. Usually I'm under the weather, I'm able to power through, but this week I had a lot of trouble. Just being able to come up and be my normal self during lessons. And the unfortunate thing about that is the students feed off of that. And so they're like, so I was getting through it late to the, later half of the week. And I had 3 students come in the classroom, and I was like, hey, what's up, guys? They weren't there was 3 of them. One of them was in my class last year. 2 of them were not in my class. And they were like, hey, I was like, hey, what's going on? They're like, hey, Mr. Shrunky. I don't know, he's just chilling. And they're like, I was like, how your classes going? They're like, yeah, this one teacher, he's always yelling at us. He's always like, we're saying like, we're doing this, we're doing that. And we're not doing it. We're not doing those things. And I said, you know what? I don't know what made me do. I was like, I'm about to have a real conversation with these kids. And they were like, yeah, because, we got caught, vaping early in the school year. So ever since then, we've been labeled as these bad kids. And I was like, okay, cool. Let's get into it. Your teacher's not mad at you. Your teacher's just dealing with their environment. I know exactly what your teacher's going through, because teachers love kids. They just want kids to do good and be great, right? But there's a lot of extra stuff that they have to deal with that your teachers are literally fighting through and fighting for to make sure that you can be whoever or whatever you want to be, right? And I don't mean whoever you want to be, like what Festus was talking about, like you're achieving your goals,
even
right?
your authentic self, right?
Being your authentic self.
Yeah.
And so when your teacher gets upset at you, when your teacher says something to you, just understand that there is so much that's going on. Have you ever seen what a teacher sees when they're standing up in front of their students and they're talking? And they're like, no. I was like, it's so much going on, because they know something about each and every single one of their students. And they're trying to somehow maneuver this small ecosystem to just get something out, to just get everyone in the right place. They knew that this student was dealing with this thing with their mom. They knew this student walks to school every day because of this particular. They know all of those things, right? And so they were like, I guess that makes sense. And then I was like, about the vaping stuff, I went and I told them about my issues with drugs and how I almost lost my life.
Dang, you was going deep.
I was going deep. Because here's the thing with these kids that we don't realize, because they got the internet, they see more and they know more. So the time for these wishy-washy, well, you gotta,
no Amos and Andy conversations. Like,
yeah, we can't do those. Now you can still, of course, you have to be, selective with your verbiage. You have to be really selective. You have to be respectful. You have to be professional. But I had to let them know that, I was in a sense wilding, and I almost lost my life. And so when a teacher gets upset about those things, they're really upset that you did it, but it's more or less about the fact that, there were certain expectations and you did some things that went out of who they expected or what they expected from you. And that's what happened. And that's what they're reacting to. And I said, look, that's why I became a teacher, to make sure that this doesn't happen to y'all. And then I went even deeper. I said, look, this is why this is probably going to be my last year teaching, because I can't teach y'all the way I really want to teach y'all. I can't give y'all what I really want to give y'all. And they were just like, you're not coming back? I was like, I can't, because I can't give y'all the way I want to give you. And I said,
bro, you spilled the tea.
Hey, you know what? I don't know what happened. I was looking at God. I was like, is this what? All right, because look, guys, we from the SWAT. All right, we can't go around doing these. We all know, like Festus, we had teachers. We had teachers who gave us the real.
Oh yeah.
We had coaches who gave us the real.
Yeah.
And when you have, there's just something that speaks about someone who gives you the real, even from a young age, right? Because I still believe this wholeheartedly. The people who care about you the most will tell you what you need to hear, regardless of how it makes you feel. They will tell it to you because they love you and they care about you. And so when you come from that place, they may not see it at that particular moment, but eventually they will see it. All right. So we're talking about solutions. I need to shut up. I've been going ham. I apologize. So I'm gonna leave it up for you two gentlemen. Let's talk about some solutions for what what our students need in 2023 and beyond.
You know, man, you said some really, really powerful things. And I think, you know, to me, one of the key takeaways, at least from my vantage point, is again, there's a Gandhi quote I really love: "Be the change you want to see in the world." You know, and to me, like people will say, "Well, why did you put LYS together, or why did you spend this much time, money, effort into doing something?" And it's like, because I seen it's needed and nobody else was doing it. You know, and so yeah, we're going to create a platform where people can come and talk about their post-secondary experiences, and we can help educators save time and energy creating lessons and delivering character in the classroom, and talk about career in college. We're gonna do that. Why? Because the thing is, we see how needed it is, you know, and it's not just needed in our neighborhoods, it's needed globally. We see the need for building up leaders who are purpose-based, transformational leaders who aren't all about the money. I'm not saying don't get your bag. I'm not saying don't get your coins, but literally for the last like 6 or 7 years, as the internet has become more democratized and widely available, you know what I'm saying, in terms of usage, right? We're seeing where young people are getting the bag. And to me, I think they're flopping on it as much as they could be creating much wider change. You know what I'm saying? Like, and just one example is what is this? The Logan brothers or Paul brothers, whatever their name is. You know what I'm saying? It's like, man, you know how many wells you could dig in third world countries? You know how much food you could get? You know what I'm saying? But it's like, just keep creating entertainment that is delusional to a certain degree. You know what I'm saying? You know, and it's sad because to me, it's a loop. Just watch the loop. And I think that's the thing that really bothers me. And I know we're talking solutions, so I'm going to get off of this, but it's understanding the pattern. You know, understanding the pattern. Kids, parents, teachers, there's a pattern being played out before us. Like literally you could see the pattern, and this is the funny thing, the pattern isn't even taking as long as it did before. You know what I'm saying? Before you would be like, oh, this thing happened, and then it take 2 or 3 more years before the thing happened again. Now you're talking about every 6 months. Now you're talking about every 3 months. Look at the pattern. And this is the thing. If there's a system, okay, and Olay said, oh, Olay gave a word. If there's a system, you have to interrupt the system in multiple places. You cannot just interrupt the system at one end. Otherwise, it continues, right? And you also have to replace a system with another system, because systems are designed to be in a loop. It feeds itself, right? Assembly line, power plant. You know what I'm saying? Some comes in at one end, then there's an output at another end. And there's certain interventions that happen in the middle. Okay, so you have to look at that and say, okay, well, what part will I play in the system? Now, again, you have different people who, you know, they talk all this big talk about just like, well, we need to burn it down. We need to start all over again. And the reality is, what do you do in the place of the system when the system's gone, where certain people are dependent on it, right? And so I think one of the biggest solutions is those people like us who were once on the sidelines, we got off the sidelines, it's you got to get out the sidelines and get in the game. So if you have one thing that is valuable that you could deliver to the community, to your neighborhood, to your family, deliver that one thing time and time and time again, continuously, because that is one way of interrupting the system. If it's starting your YouTube channel, please start your YouTube channel. If it is writing your book, please write your book. If it is starting your after school program, start that after school program, right? Because that is the only way we're gonna not only create interruption in terms of, and I'm not saying the system is bad, I'm saying the system output is what is bad. Just work within the system and create your own underlying system to change what the output is. It is going to take you more time. It's going to take you more energy. Literally, that's why the system's created. Why? Because it's only going to reward those who are going to put in the work. And so that's a solution for 2023.
That is cold right there. That's why the system is built the way it is. The system rewards those who put in the work. Man, can we get that framed? And then put a dash, and then put Festus and Olay next
to it. When you watch this, make that a highlight.
Yeah, make that highlight. Bookmark. All right, D-Hill, go ahead, D-Hill. What you got?
Man, Festus said a lot, bro. Especially when he said, when you take one thing away, make sure you have something in place for it. Bro, that's all I've been saying. And the main key for that is a plan. Like, I just heard somebody the other day, if y'all seen, they complaining about gas stoves. Have y'all seen that? Talking about ban gas stoves.
Yeah.
But they don't have no plan. Say what?
California. I think that's California.
Yeah. But they trying to do it because that one girl was, I'm not going to say her name because then everybody uproar. You know how people upset about everything in life, even about socks. So but they were on there going off about that. I'm thinking, bro, even like all the different places, like, picture if they would have banned gas stoves in Houston during the storm. I mean, how many people would have froze because everybody cut on their gas stoves just keep warm. Like, you don't have, or like how they was trying to make everybody go electric, but didn't have a plan for how to get everybody electric. Just cut off all the gas stuff. Then one thing I heard that's just another one, like you said, is the main thing is like have something in place. Like when they were trying to get rid of all the cops. And now they mad because of all the violence. Like, what do you think is going to happen if you get rid of criminals? Ain't going to stop being criminals, bro. Okay? And like one time I heard a long time ago, they would take the prostitutes off the street. No, they would take the pimps away from the prostitutes, right? And just leave them. So what happened? The prostitute going to make prostitute. And everybody mad at them being prostitutes. But they don't know nothing about it. But like you said, man, there's so many different resources we need to focus on. Like, y'all got the resources and just have a process. And it's like, even growing up, I remember like the old people would always have a plan before they even start something. Now everybody starts something without a plan. Or matter of fact, they don't even start nothing. They have a cause, but no reason for the cause. If that makes sense. Like, they just mad. Like, if somebody come on TV, right, like, if I go on social media right now and say something crazy, like, I hate, I don't know, say pink socks, because pink socks is everybody, I probably have 100,000 people who would try to join me, try and get rid of pink socks. So the main thing we have to do is focus on making a plan. Before you start something, plan out the whole step, and also plan out parts that if this fails, what would happen? If this fails, what would happen? If this doesn't work, okay, we need to go back to here. And the main thing is have more people, the right people with you in this season, man. People who want to work. So yeah.
Bro, that's a powerful point. I'm gonna tag on that point.
Go ahead, baby.
Is make that plan, but get the right people, because like you said, the right people will be able to point to you and say, hey, listen, that ain't gonna work in this plan. You know what I'm saying? And they'll be able to help support you. I mean, that's one of the reasons I love having Daniel around. My nickname for Daniel is the LYS evangelist, because Daniel be out there like telling people about it, like, oh, yo, and it's like, yo, like that's something that we need. And so I love Daniel's support and all that he does, because Daniel's out here creating change, but at the same time he's saying, hey, look, I see this need. You see what I'm saying? And so the plan just works. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because the people work. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that's the big thing is, you know, is that level of collaboration where we say, okay, look, I might not be able to, but hey, this person can. Hey, I could deliver this and I could deliver that, and we just work together, right? And I think, again, you know, I really don't like the term like-minded, right? I like the term like-spirited, right? And the reason why I say that is this. If everybody in your circle thinks the same, you're gonna get the same results, because nobody is challenging each other's thinking. Nobody's challenging each other's way of looking at things. Nobody's challenging each other's perspective. So that's why I love Olay and Wes and Cleo, and we're gonna again bring them on the podcast so that they could tell their stories about their education and their perspective on things. Because, man, we had a little get together 2 weeks ago, and listen, so we in there, we collaborate, we laugh, and we, you know, and then it turned into a challenge Festus session, everybody beating up on me. But then Cleo says the most powerful thing. I say, man, you know, it's a long dark hole. And Cleo said, it was a very simple phrase. He said, so you're going to let X, this person, you know, he said his person's name. He said, you're going to let X climb down the hole, but not you. That little phrase was such a dagger in my heart, because it was like, that is the whole point. It's like, no, that's the point of being a leader. You know what I'm saying? You gotta go, you know what I'm saying? And so it was so powerful, that little phrase. But again, because we're like-spirited, but not like-minded. So we had a similar spirit, like, yo, we gonna get it. We gonna challenge the status quo. Yo, we're gonna use whatever tools and resources are at our hand and availability to create change now, but we're not thinking the same way. We're looking at it from different perspectives. So we're challenging each other to get there. So thank you for that, Daniel. I think that was a key point.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I had 3 little comments here. First of all, what did socks do? Okay. I don't know about you guys. Had them on since I was a kid.
Is socks that's a real thing?
Is that a real thing? You know, people are mad at socks
right now. I just joking. I just tell you, I was like, well, you never know. Matter of fact, hold on. Hey, you know what I'm saying? Let me go Google and see if somebody mad at socks.
Man, like, socks are amazing. All right. And another thing I was going to say is, I don't know about you guys. Like, I remember hearing about the whole Biden thing with the gas stoves. Dog, when I get a house, like, I'm having gas stoves. Food is so good on gas. Food is way better on gas than it is on like the first time I made like scrambled. I was telling you I made scrambled eggs on gas. I was like, I see why all the main should be using this. It's litty on gas. I love gas. And so another quick moment here. You know, we were talking about these systems. Festus, you mentioned how these systems move really fast now, 3 to 6 months, which is so true, right? And this, you can see the correlation, or you can see how this matches up with the advancement in technology, right? Shout out to the kid out there. Shout out to the kid out there who created the app for teachers who can help the teachers see if their students are using AI to generate their essays. I don't know if you heard about that.
I did hear about that.
So shout out to him.
You're about to make some coinage.
Those of us out of school, we appreciate it, but like for the kids, y'all still gotta type them, you know, them essays, man. You got to use the brain power. But I appreciate the effort there. But we were talking about the government, right? We're talking about the government systems and things like that, and how, you know, you were talking about how you see these patterns, right? And so once again, I want you to think, if you're a young person, if you're a parent, if you're an adult, educator, whoever, like, really think, even if you know, or even if you think you know, like really sit and think, like, what is the system or cycle that you see happening there? Because I remember right around before the midterms, right? There are a lot of things that were happening with gas prices, a lot of things with student loan debt. Maybe we can have like a discussion on that later. But, you know, certain things that were happening at a particular moment in time, right? And I just want people to man, that's another quote I always have, is question everything. You got to question everything, not just because it's your right. The more you question, the more you're able to understand about your world, right? So I think this is a good place to stop. We talked about the students. I think we got some really good stuff there. I believe next week we can go into, I'm not sure which it is. It's either parents or educators. But if that's a good place for you guys, I think we can stop there and prepare for next week. Is that cool?
Yeah, I definitely think so, man. And I mean, I love these conversations, bro, because we could just go like what Too Short say, go on and on. I know we want to talk about the same thing, but the funny Too Short.
The heart is there. The heart is there.
You know what I'm saying?
The heart of the words.
Definitely not like Spirited.
Definitely not like All right, folks. As always, thank you so much for joining us for another session of LYS Free Student Mentoring, powered by LYS. If you want to get in contact with us, or if you want to follow us on any of the social medias, LYS Students, and _LYS on Instagram. On Facebook, Laddering Your Success, just type that into the search bar. This student mentoring session will be uploaded pretty much as soon as we're done, because it's live streaming right now. The same thing goes for YouTube. Just type in Laddering Your Success in the search bar. You'll be able to get access to that there. On TikTok, LYS Do. If you want to inquire about workshops, if you want us to come talk to your youth group, if you want us to come to your school, if you have questions about the app itself, if you have questions about the books or anything that LYS has to offer, send us an email there at info@ladderingyoursuccess.com. On Discord, simply typing in Laddering Your Success into the search bar will give you access to our Discord channel. And if you love what we're doing, if you want to help this message grow, on Cash App, $Laddering Your Success on Cash App. Just type that in and you'll get access to us. Don't forget about the LYS app. Save time with the LYS Lesson Plan and Assignments app. This is great for teachers, districts, educators, administrators, counselors, homeschooling parents, all of the above, right? LYS book, Laddering Your Success book. It's on Lulu. It's on Amazon. Be sure to purchase it. BarnesandNoble.com. On the website, ladderingyoursuccess.com, you may purchase the Stepping Up College and Career Checklist, a parent's guide to student success. And we also have, for a free ebook download, 10 things to think about before going to college. All right, folks, for my good friend, Daniel Hill, for the founder of Laddering Your Success, Festus and Olay, my name is Olay Sharanki. Thank you so much for joining us. We wish you peace. We wish you all the best, nothing but the best. And we will see you next week for another session, for another free student mentoring by Laddering Your Success. Remember, there are legitimate reasons for not going. Go ahead, do it, Festus. I just messed it up. Oh, I got to get better.
There are legitimate reasons for not going to college. There is no legitimate reason for not getting an education. So with that, we're out. Thank you.
Y'all take care now. Oh, you're still there? Well, thank you so much for listening to the LYS podcast.